Hello there, and welcome to another Ed webinar. I'm Adam. I'm one of the lead content designers here at Ed. So today we're just going to give you, in this webinar, a little bit of an introduction to the authoring tool. And for those of you who are perhaps a little familiar with it, we're going to then, once we've introduced the authoring tool concept to people who might not be so familiar, what we're going to do is look at some interactive templates, and we're going to look at how the same interactive template can be used in 2 or 3 different ways to really spice up your lessons. So do stick around even if you're familiar with the tool, because there'll be definitely something useful in there for you. And perhaps as we're going through this early content, please have a think about if there's any templates you would like me to show you how are configured, and if you put that in the chat, then yeah, I'm sure we can get that included as we go to the end. So to start the webinar off, I'm just going to talk about what we're looking at now, what's on the screen here. So we are in the content editor. So this is going to be where you spend the most of your time creating lessons in Ed. So this is the rapid authoring tool that we offer you. So you can see here that I'm in a lesson which is branded to Apple, and that's just for the example of this webinar. We're taking the role of a retail store, an electronics store, who's training their retail employees on the MacBook product. So, for example, they have a campaign coming up where they are promoting the MacBook. So they want their employees to know all about it. So if anyone comes in, they know straight away how to sell a MacBook, how to talk about it, and that sort of thing. So we are here on the authoring tool, as I mentioned, and there are 3 main sections of the authoring tool. So I'm just going to start with this one on the left here, and this is the content preview window. So what this content preview window is it shows you exactly how your content will appear to the learners in the app when they access it. So you can see when you're configuring your lesson immediately exactly how it's going to appear to your learners. You can try it out. For example, here you can simulate interactions with the content too. So I'm going to click this button, simulating a tap from the learner, and it treats it just like as if the learner would in a lesson. So it shows you exactly how they would interact with it. You can also preview on different types of devices. So for example, you can see how it would look on an iPhone 6, you can look on the iPad, you can look on the Android devices, you can see how it looks on for any of your Android users. So you can really experiment and just see exactly how your lesson will look. But we're going to go configure our lesson looking at it from the iPhone 5 perspective. So in the middle here, we have the content editor. So this is the main section, and this is where you can configure the templates. We'll talk a little bit more about what templates do in a moment, but for right now, we're just on a title slide, a title template, I should say. And we're just going to configure that quickly just to show you how it works. So here, I can change the title of the lesson. So we're going to say this is an introduction to the MacBook. So, and as you can see, as I type in here, it immediately updates on the left to let the learner know, to let you know when you're creating the lesson exactly how it will look. It updates straight away, so there's no waiting, there's no messing around. It is right there straight away, ready to show you how it looks. And there's lots of different configuration options. Again, as we go through, I'll show you more of what we do. So on the right here, we have the content navigation bar. So using this bar, you can move around your lesson. You can click to go to the next slide. If we have more slides, you could drag to reorder slides within your lesson. And here is where you add more slides, more content to your lesson. So within an Ed lesson, when a learner accesses it, they must progress through all the slides of the lesson until they reach the exit slide. And that's it. They progress through each slide over and over. And each slide of a lesson is a different thing. And the way you configure how a slide works for you is you apply a template to that slide. So really a slide is like a blank canvas, and a slide can't exist without a template. So I'll show you how to apply a template to a slide. And that's it. I mean, we've got upwards of 60 templates, and as I'll show you in the latter half of the webinar, these are templates. It's not just 60 different uses of a slide and that's it. We've got 60 templates that can all be used in a variety of ways in themselves. So I mean, thinking approximately 3 uses per template, about 180 templates, you could say. Anyway, so we're going to construct a sort of a quick lesson, a quick example lesson in the webinar to give you a sort of real life example of how configuring will work. So the first thing we're going to do is change the template on this slide, because this is what you get when you create a new lesson. You get a title slide and an exit slide, and then you go from there. And I'm going to start the lesson by educating the learners on what the content of the lesson will be, because a good lesson, you really want to introduce your topic to the learner. You don't want to just go straight in teaching them, giving them some knowledge transfer. They want to be primed for the learning. So what I'm going to do here is, instead of using the title slide, I'm going to open up the template library using the cog. And what this does is allows me to change the template applied to that slide. And I'm going to select the text and images template. But first of all, let's talk about the template library. So the template library is, as I mentioned, we've got 60 plus templates. And this is where you select the template to apply to your content. So we're in the content tab at the moment, and this is where all the knowledge transfer style templates are. So you can have an expandable list, for example, templates where you want to detail a different list of items. You can detail images. This is a great template for detailing products or large images. You can zoom in on specific areas. The image waypoints template, and we've got a number of templates here, table, text sequence, but we're going to use the text and images template, as I mentioned previously. So we're going to introduce the topic of the lesson. So just like before, I'm going to say introduction to the MacBook. And just to make you aware, every single template, when you add it, it's just got a little bit of dummy content into there, just so that you can get a quick feel for how the content or how the template can be used. So we're going to change that obviously to be relevant to our lesson. So introduction. And we're just going to let the learners know what we're doing here and why they're learning about this content. So let's say in this So there we go. And as you can see there, halfway through I changed my mind and decided I want to use a different way to introduce the content, and it's immediately like that. We can do that, and that's one of the great things about Ed. The rapid authoring, as I mentioned previously, the way you can make edits really quickly, and I press save, and that's it. It's done. It's ready. And say I want to change it into something entirely else. Well, I can, but we're going to stick to the MacBook example for now. So here I'm going to upload an image, and this is just to break up the content a little. We don't want to just be delivering long form text. We're about keeping things nice and interactive and engaging for learners, and having an image in there just breaks up the content a little bit for them. It makes it a bit more interesting than just a long slog of reading. We don't want to do that to them. And finally, we're going to say in this lesson we will and there you go. So that's the first slide of the lesson, and obviously your lesson can take any form you like. I mean, it's your custom lessons. You can create anything you want really, but I like starting each of my lessons with just a short slide like this, just to let the learner know what's going on, what the deal is in this template. So as I've written down here, we're going to be looking at the key selling points of the MacBook today. So we're going to add some knowledge transfer, again using a content template. So I'm going to draw on YouTube for this example. So as we scroll down here, you can see we've got a number of different video options available. You can upload your own video if you have internal training media already prepared in your company. You can upload that as you wish. You can draw in from Vimeo. A lot of TED Talks are on there, which is great. So you should use there. But again, in this scenario, we're going to use the YouTube video. And we're just going to show you how simple it is to configure. And with YouTube, the great thing is that you can draw on such a bank of knowledge. Everyone's uploading their own thoughts and opinions and how-to videos. But let's say in this example, we're going to we're going to take a video from Apple's own YouTube channel here, which just talks about the key selling points of the MacBook. And as soon as we pasted that in, it's ready to go. We've got our knowledge transfer there. And just to show you again how you do that. So you get a video that you would like to include in your lesson, and you go up here and you grab this little jumble of text after the equal sign and cut that and then paste it into the YouTube video ID. And just in case you forget, it's all written here so that you can use that yourself in your own lessons. And of course, like I said, we've got so much knowledge to draw on. You can, let's say we want to teach about open questions and the benefits of open questions. Let's have a look at that. Here we go, and we've got so many videos here on open questions and why they're useful, and even one relevant here. And there's a variety of, so much content here. In fact, a lot of lessons, at least the ones I've been doing lately, I like to draw in on people's own reviews of the products that I'm educating on. So people who are uploaded to YouTube, you get the customer's direct opinion, and then you can really educate learners. Look, this is what customers like about the MacBook, for example. So this is what you need to talk about. And it's great being able to show them that. And of course, having examples of what the learner needs to know in a video content is just great, because it engages visual and audio learners, and it's very engaging. Again, where possible, we like to avoid long form text. We've used a video here, image in this template to break up the content. We introduce the key learning concepts here in video, and then we're going to move on to reinforcing it. So in this, just to review the structure of the lesson, we've introduced the content in the first slide. We've then conducted knowledge transfer in the second slide using a YouTube video, and now we're going to look to reinforce this learning. So to do this, we're going to add an interactive template. And I'm going to start with the missing word template. So what we're looking to do here is really just immediately drill in the learning that the learner has just gone through. It's immediate reinforcement. We don't want them to watch the video and then go, oh, that's great, and then forget about it and not really think about it until the moment comes where the customer's asking, so what's good about the MacBook? We want them to be immediately thinking about it and reinforced and taught the correct answer. So I am going to show you how to configure the missing word template. So first of all, we go in the title field. Let's say we're educating on the MacBook's all-day battery life. So this is one of the key messages here. So the first variant of the missing word template I'm going to show you is reinforcing key script or key points of a script. So let's say I was trying to bullet point the key messages of this sentence, the stuff that they absolutely need to remember. And that's all day battery life, 9 hours. And if I can just drill that into my employees' heads, my pretend employees' heads, then they'll be ready to sell. Anyone who comes in, they go, oh, what's good about the MacBook? Do you remember all day battery life? So what we're going to do here is, again, set up the missing word reinforce, if we call it that, for now. All day battery life, 9 hours. And this is just about, again, just making them think, when they're dragging it in themselves, Mac has an all day battery life, 9 hours. And as they're going through this, they're repeating it in their heads and just reinforcing it to them like that. And then we press OK. And the takeaway comes up telling us that's correct. And again, it's got some default content in there, but we're just going to reinforce down here. So in the takeaway, I like to reinforce the correct answer to the lesson, just to make the template, just to make sure that the learner is absolutely clear what they're being educated on this slide. And then perhaps put a piece of text about the reason why it's important or how they can use it. So let's say here, this information. So there we are, and I'm just reinforcing why that's important. So as I mentioned, we're going to look at some other configurations for the template. So now I'm going to show you missing word multiple choice. So what we do here is we say we have the correct answer down here. We have what they need to do is confirming that the MacBook has an all-day battery life of 9 hours. Say this is the concept we really want to educate. In this example, the 9-hour battery life. So let's try and throw them off. And now, in fact, we're just going to go down here. When you're using the missing word multiple choice variant of the template, what you want to do is make sure that you change the prompt. So instead of dragging the missing words, we're going to say dragging the correct words. That's it. That's the use of the template change. So we're not just reinforcing the script here. We're getting them to apply their knowledge, getting them to think and remember. They're like, oh yeah, it was, and they think perhaps they think it was 12 hours. They can't quite remember the video. So we press OK, and then Ed automatically reinforces them. No, it's not quite right. And then we hear from our takeaway, we see the MacBook has an all-day battery life of 9 hours. And that's exactly what we want. So any misconceptions on the learner's part, any misrememberings, using these interactive templates immediately, it's automatically rectified by Ed. And that's one of the great benefits of using these interactive templates immediately after the knowledge transfer. So we're going to look at the final variant of missing word that at least that I tend to use, and for that is the true or false version of missing word. So we're going to change the sentence here. Let's say you should So here what we're trying to get the learner to remember is that the most important thing to talk about when you're selling the MacBook is its all-day battery life. Perhaps that's not the correct thing, but just in this example webinar, we'll say that is the most important selling message. So, and just like that, what we've got here is 2 words that they could drag in, and one of them makes the sentence correct, one of them makes it incorrect, and that's really the true or false variant of the missing word template. So what you're doing is, when you're making this template, you've got to pick a word that you can have exactly the opposite meaning of the word, and it completely flips the meaning of the whole sentence. So it really makes the learner think what meaning they're trying to go for. So again, let's say they think, you shouldn't prioritize it. Let's just change the takeaway to confirm that. Should be prioritized when talking to customers. And there we go. I mean, that's the template again, configured with a good takeaway. And so that's the missing, the true or false variant of missing word. And there's just one thing that you really should consider when doing this template. Just like before, you need to make sure that the prompt applies. And honestly, if it still says missing word, well, it makes sense. But I like to make sure it says dragged in the correct word, because I'm a bit of a pedant when it comes to making these lessons. And another perhaps slightly pedantic thing is that I like to try and make these words that could be slotted in the same size as each other, or close enough. Because let's say that we've said here should not is one of the other words. Well, the learner tries to drag it in, and they can see it doesn't really fit in the slot, so they know it should. And obviously we don't want the learner to be figuring out the answer because they checked out the size of the words here. We want them to be figuring out the correct answer because they've applied their knowledge they've just got through the knowledge transfer. So that's something to consider when you're using this variant of the template. So that's missing word. We're then going to move on to looking at connect. Connect is a great way to spice up your content. So just like I mean, when we were looking at missing word there, we talked about multiple choice variant of missing word and true or false variant of missing word. And you may be thinking, well, why don't we just use the multiple choice template if you want to do multiple choice, and why don't we just use the true or false template? And of course, you can definitely do that. And the multiple choice template is fantastic. It's a linchpin of all your lessons. But it's great to have a lot of different interaction styles for your learners where possible, just to keep them engaged. Just like we're trying to spice up the lesson by adding an image, by adding a video, you really want to have lots of different ways the learner makes its way through the lesson. So if they've gone through their knowledge transfer and then all they're doing is tapping true or false, or tapping to select an answer, then it's not so engaging. We really want them to be interacting in as many different ways as possible. So here, for example, we've got the drag and drop interaction style. And if we have the multiple choice, we've got the click interaction style, sorry, tap. And here we've got the draw to connect interaction. And that's something we really try to emphasize when we add new templates. It's all the different interaction styles that you can have within a lesson to keep the learner engaged and interested. And of course, multiple choice, it's anyone can configure one of these. So I'd rather spend time showing you how we can use some of the more advanced templates. Speaking of which, we're going to show you the connect template. So the first variant we're going to look at is the classic connect, pair up the features of the MacBook. So let's see. And here we're just reinforcing the dimensions of the MacBook for those interested in, for those customers interested in the numbers, the sort of the real detail-oriented customers. So don't hold me to these numbers, but I think they're pretty accurate. And finally, the Mac. And we're saying it's £2. And there we have the template configured. So here we're reinforcing the draw a line to connect, and then again it plays the little correct animation and automatically reinforces them. Just like in the last template, we can configure some answer text here to reinforce the key concepts, to let them know all these different stats and why that's important to know. But for us, we're going to look at another variant of the template, which is we're going to start with the true or false variant. And this one, again, just like I was mentioning before, it's great to have as many different true or false style variants of these templates as possible, because true or false is one of the easiest sort of questions that you can make up. And when, say, you've got a promotion coming up in 2 weeks and you'd love to have a lesson there ready to train your learners on it immediately, then you can put together a lesson that's really engaging with loads of different interaction styles, all based on true or false statements. So, it's the most rapid you can get when you're creating lessons. So, in fact, each of the templates I will talk about today is going to have a true or false variant. So, let's go with. We're going to create a false statement first. Okay, and then let's do a true there. I'm going to wrap it up with a false. And yeah, just like that, we've got 3 different true or false statements to reinforce, which they must drag to connect, just like previously. True and false. And there we are. And just like before, we're reinforcing these key messages. So on one slide, whoops, I forgot to change the title. And there we have it, the true or false variant of the connect template ready to go. So we're going to look at one final version of the true or false, and it's a newly introduced feature. We're always iterating on the library, and it's not just introducing new templates. We add in new ways to use the old templates, and I absolutely love this feature. So what we can do here, as you can see, I've clicked on the image sort of tab over here, and we've got an upload file. So what we can do is get the learners to pair images to text or image to image, but in this scenario, we're going to take a step back from the key messages just so that I can show you how this feature works. And we're going to say pair the image. So we've got the MacBook here has its own custom keyboard setup, and we're just going to get the learners here to confirm their knowledge of what keyboard is used. So here we have the classic scissor mechanism and the MacBook. And just like that, here we have a great way to introduce some image into the lesson. Again, I've talked previously about how it's great to use image where you can, and here it also gives them a sort of a more visual way to understand the content. Again, we've got to cater for the visual learners where we can. So here we've got the classic scissor and the MacBook's butterfly mechanism, and you can talk about in the answer text. And there we go, the correct answer there. So that's the variants of the connect template. And we're going to move on now to look at the categorize template. So in this version of the template, this here, we have got another interaction type. So here we're dragging and dropping into one of two boxes, and it's sort of the drag in a line scenario, interaction style, I mean here. So we'll start with the true or false variant. So let's say and here we configure the statement down here. Let's think of a different question. And again, here we've got the true or false options. And of course, in this one, we're going to say that false is the correct answer and unchecked true is the correct answer. And here we go. I don't know if I'm going to configure the answer text for that. I think we all know that the MacBook doesn't come free with Windows 10. Again, this is just an example of how the template can be used as a true or false scenario. And there we go. Ed lets me know I'm correct. So we're also going to show you the categorize, dragging into categories. So let's see. What type of screen? What is it? MacBook's display. There we go, and we will say the false is high definition. Sorry, I mean incorrect. And there again, we've got the learners try and categorize whether it's high definition or ultra high. Obviously, it's ultra high, and that's correct. But again, we can look at a different scenario. Let's briefly look at how this could be used to reinforce the types of question you should be using when selling. So let's say, is the following an open or closed question? And for example here, let's say we're reinforcing sales skills or sales competencies, and we want to make sure that they're using open questions to talk about the MacBook. What do it, of course, this is an open question. And there we have it. Again, we're categorizing here which style of question is. So you can use this to categorize any sort of two different categories, and that's automatic reinforcing there. No, it's an open question. So we're gonna round out the lesson. We've conducted some knowledge transfer here. We've reinforced the content, and we're just gonna round it out with a quick game, and we'll show you how to configure that. And just like before, we've got two variants of the game that I can show you here. So we're going to use the TrueFalse game, which is my absolute favorite. And you can, when you're starting your first lesson in Ed, I highly recommend using the TrueFalse game. Even if you just, when you create your course, you've got 5 or 6 lessons on your content, and maybe add in the 7th final lesson, and it could even just be the game to reinforce your learning content. It's so quick to set up, and it's really great for reinforcing the key concepts that you've gone through in your course. So we'll just include it as reinforcement for this lesson. So to give you an example of how the game works, I'm just going to preview it in the content preview window. So it's sort of got a Tinder-esque interaction style. You swipe true statements to the right and false statements to the left. And I'm going to cheat because I've got the correct answers up here. Correct. And as you can see, so say I took a little bit of time to answer that one, I got less points. But here, as I'm speedier in answering, I get more points. And that's sort of the jeopardy for the learner there. Do they try and answer really quickly and then they get it wrong and lose points? Or do they take their time and earn less points, and maybe they won't get, they won't beat their high score, or they won't earn enough points to get all their stars throughout the game? Anyway, we're going to configure this to suit our lesson here. So we're going to add some statements to make this about the MacBook. So let's say here and here we're going to add some false. So I'm going to add in one more false statement. And when I'm using this game in my lessons, I try to make sure that there's an even number of statements to swipe right and statements to swipe left, because we don't want this to copy Tinder entirely, where you just swipe right all the time is the best strategy. You want it to be they get an even number of points. I mean, they have to think about it basically. They can't just swipe mindlessly in one direction. And the final false statement, what have we got here? Standardization, new and improved keyboard. Okay, and here we go, we're ready to play. And again, when the learner's going through this, it's reinforcing in their head, all day battery life, yeah, that one's true, swipe right. Standard definition, no, it's not. And every time they say it, it's going through their head, yes, lightest notebook ever, no, it was the butterfly mechanism, yes, lightest notebook, yes, all day battery life. And that's really what you want to look for with your learners. So we're going to do some more configurations. We're going to set these categories as false and true. And I'll show you. I mean, this is such a fantastic feature. This is what really allows you a huge amount of versatility for this template. You don't have to just do true or false. Anyway, we'll come back to that in a little bit. I'm going to decrease the time limit to 10 seconds. And the reason I'm doing this is because we've only got 4 statements, because we're in a webinar situation. I'm not going to take the time to do the normal good amount of statements that I would do in this scenario. So we're bringing the time down anyway because of that. But also, I really like to have shorter games anyway, because it makes the learner, they really have to try harder. They have to get all the answers right if they want to earn all their stars. And speaking of earning all their stars, we come to the star configuration area. So I'm going to say they can get 5 stars. So we see here, as they arrive on the slide, it says 5 stars available. We'll just bring that pop-up up again. 5 stars available, so they know there's a bit of jeopardy here. There's stars on the line. They want to try hard on this one. And I like to set my 1-star level to 1,000. So what that means is that if the learner gets 1,000 points, then they're going to get 1 star. That's like the lowest amount of points they need to get A star. And all stars, I'll change it to 10,000 again because we've got a short time limit. So yeah, they have to try hard, but it's only 10,000 points they have to get. And Ed will divvy out the rest of the stars automatically for you. So 10,000 points, they're going to get 5, 1,000, they're going to get 1. And Ed does the maths so that the rest of the stars are evenly divvied out between those points levels. So I'm also just I like to let the learner know exactly how many points they're aiming for. So that's just a quick example of how you could inform your learner of what's on the line here. And so we press OK, I'm ready, and that's this true or false version of the true or false game configured. So scissor mechanism, nope. And you can see I'm already halfway out of time, so I've really got to focus on this one. Lightest map, but yeah, it is. Standard definition, nope. Scissor, nope. Lightest, yeah. All the brush life, yeah. Standard, nope. And did it go through? Yes, and all 5 stars. And you might there, when you're configuring the lesson, you might think, oh, maybe that was too easy, or maybe I could add some more statements to make it harder. But you saw, as I was going through there, I'm really memorizing all of these different facts as we're going through the game. So, I mean, that's why it's so great to round out your lesson with this, just as a final review and a bit of fun there for your learners. And if they happen to not get enough points, they could see, they've only got 4 stars. Oh, if I tried again, I would get more stars, or I could beat my high score. So they would try again and again, and each time they try again, you're getting another 10 seconds in this scenario of reinforcing the content. Anyway, we're going to look now at the other variation of the true or false game, and that is, it's like a categorize. So let's go back to reinforcing open and closed questions. So here we say open question, and so as you can see here, that the correct checkbox here is unchecked. That means it's incorrect. It's going to be a closed question. And correct here is an open question. It's going to the right. So if we look at how the game looks now, you can see if I think this is an open question, I swipe it right. It's a closed, I swipe it left. So we can configure these statements to be open and closed questions. And perhaps we're, the learner's gone through the lesson. They've understood all the key concepts here, the key setting messages they need to remember, and now we're going to use the game to let them know the kind of questions they should be asking customers to get them talking about the key setting messages. So let's say what kind of movies do you enjoy? So this kind of question could be used to get them, oh, well, I like action movies. Oh, well, action movies would be great to watch in the MacBook's ultra high definition screen, and that's what maybe we're educating the learner on here. So we're going to create a closed question here. You like and we're going to correct the typos, and that's done. All right. So another open question. Let's say and we're using this open question to talk about how why it's so great that the MacBook has an all-day battery life. And the final closed question, we will talk again about the battery life. So we're just getting here the key concept in the learner's mind that the battery life is, or use open questions. This is what an open question is. This is what a closed question is. So we also need to change up the description of the game here. So we'll just give the game a generic name, and which of these swipe open questions, no, closed questions to the left. So, and there we go. That's the sort of true or false categorized variant configured and ready to go. Where would you go? That was open, do you closed, what kind of, and there you can kind of see, you know, as I'm going through this, it's like the learners will remember that questions that start with what and are generally open questions. Questions that start with do generally close. So you can try and avoid those kind of questions. And unfortunately, I didn't do quite as well as I did last time, but that's okay. I can play again and get a higher score. So that really rounds out configuring the lesson there. Unless we have any questions, I'll just wrap up the webinar there. So if you would like to contact me after the webinar here, you can contact me on adam@edapp.com. You know, any questions you have, anything at all, just send me a message. I'll happily respond. You can also find us on Twitter on the handle at microlessons. And we're on YouTube, and we've got some of the past webinars uploaded and just some examples of how to configure templates. So you can look us up on there, and that'll be great to see examples like this. We've got what we've got there, the ratio template. We've got how to do different versions of the ratio template. And also you can check out the Ed Academy. If you go to academy.edapp.com, we've got a number of articles here, for example, the different versions of the categorized template, the chat template we didn't get to today, but there's a number of different variants that you can use. And I recommend checking out, not only because I wrote the articles. So again, thanks very much for attending. I hope you found this useful, and cheers. See you again soon.